Well, here we go. Welcome and welcome back. It is another amazing day in paradise. I'm trying to make sure my head is like centered on this frame here. And my body is centered. I'm just kind of playing around a little bit. But let's go ahead and get started. Welcome and welcome back. It's another amazing day in paradise. My name is Carolyn Sanders. Most people know me as Kai. I am the Chief Bushel Blaster for a company by the name of L.U.V Enterprises, where L.U.V is an acronym that is spelled L.U.V. And it stands for Learn Your Value, using a little phonetic shortcut. And I'm here with you for take 2 of April showers bring May flowers and June blooms. And this video is a redo, I guess you could say. A couple of weeks ago, I went to launch the Will You Believe in Love social media scavenger hunt, and it wasn't my time. I knew it wasn't. That's not what I was supposed to do. But I was kind of rushing God and being like, I can do it, I can do it, I can do it. And then it turns out I couldn't do it at all. And the purpose of the social media scavenger hunt is to increase my social media presence across all the platforms that L.U.V Enterprises is found on. There's a Facebook page, there's a blog, there's an Instagram page, and this YouTube channel. And so, yeah, I wasn't quite prepared to handle the load that came with that. I started it and I did pretty good posting for a few days on 3 out of the 4 platforms, but not on this one. And so with it being Juneteenth weekend and the celebration of emancipation, America's second Independence Day celebration, it is a perfect time for my son and I to be declaring independence from the situation that we've been in. And it has come at a time when there's just a lot that's going on. We are so blessed. For those of you that don't know, I have a son. He's 5. The name that God gave him is Wisdom, and he definitely lives up to that name. He has been one of my greatest teachers, and I'm extremely grateful for him. We've had the assignment as God's research assistants to experience the perils of poverty. And it has been a very real experience, but it has been from the perspective of parenting and being able to parent well, and what that difference makes. Not only just being able to parent well, but also to be able to reparent myself and live as truly a highly effective person, and what that looks like and how that can be possible in the midst of poverty. And so what I wanted to talk a little bit about today is how the journey even began. Like, I realized that I've been a very secretive person, and with all that has happened to my son and I, then this has been, excuse me. It looks like you just have to figure it out. I'm not sure what's going on. Just do what I did before and go out of it. Excuse me, y'all. Oh, it looks like it's freezing. Oh, because it's upside down. That's why. We're supposed to be doing it from this side. Clear here. Clear it out. Clear it out. Oh. And then start over. That's what's been happening with that. So if it gets too crazy, you just have to try something different, okay? Please excuse me. Go ahead. And so when going through poverty, it's not something that you want to sit there and talk about and be all proud about it. Oh yeah, we're poor. We're living in hotels and in storage units and different things of that nature. It's not exactly, a glamorous life. But that has been just the last about 22 months that we've been on this journey. And as I've I mean, I have just changed so much in the last 22 months, and just the most wonderful ways. I just love me. I mean, and I love who God has seen me to be before I knew what he saw. Um, and I'm grateful for another person who loved me before I loved me. And so if you saw the post, either on my blog or on Facebook or anything else like that, it said every grade of value. And on June 6th of 2008, I had this incredible experience that is hard to imagine that I've had. And this year marks 13 years since that experience, which fascinates me. Well, 13 is my lucky number. And to be honest with you, it's kind of like this bittersweet experience because it was the beginning of a true, like, genuine love story. And so I met this beautiful um, African man from Cote d'Ivoire. Now, back in 2008, this was through Skype. Um, this wasn't so well known. I mean, I looked it up. That's when it was. Facebook was launched in 2004, I think it was, and so in 2008, it was still in its infancy. And if I remember correctly, like, we didn't even get on Facebook. Even though we met in 2008, we didn't even connect on Facebook until I think 2010, when we became Facebook friends. Anyway, nowadays you have TV shows like 90 Day Fiance. I mean, they have a whole franchise out of 90 Day Fiance where people are going there or they're coming here or whatever. But this wasn't as well known of or well heard of back then. And so on June 2008, I was living in Hawaii, on the islands of Hawaii. I was living on the island of Oahu in particular. And and this beautiful man was in Abidjan, Cote d'Ivoire, which is a city in the country of the Ivory Coast on the continent of Africa. And when he first began to talk to me, he seemed rather like unbelievable, like he was too kind, you know? And then within days he was professing he loved me and all this other stuff. And so that set me on this journey to be like, oh, well, you just want to agree. Didn't really understand English very well. We would type back and forth and use whatever modes of translation we needed to communicate. And it was amazing. And the reason why this story is so bittersweet is because 13 years later, 13 years and 12 days later, technically, we still haven't met. And that's why it's so bittersweet, because he has been obviously have a son. I've been in a relationship outside of that, and he has a child, another child. Actually, he had a daughter when we met, and now he has a young daughter. And man, he is the one that put me on the journey to learning how to love myself and why I was worthy of love. He also helped me in this journey that has taken 13 years and counting. What I learned about why I couldn't connect with those desires to meet him, even though I had quite a few opportunities to put everything together to go, they just didn't work out. And that was because of my lack. It wasn't anything on his part. It was very challenging for him to get a passport or a visa and different things of that nature. Anyway, it was all things that we discussed because, of course, as the man, he should come and, come to America and different things of that nature. But the one thing that has been so powerful in my life has been this recognition of why I couldn't and why I haven't, and so many promises. And what God revealed to me are really a combination of two different beings, or not that we should be, just that we are in most cases. And that is a conscious being, and that is the person that we are aware of being, that we are trying to be on purpose. And then there's the subconscious being. That's the person that we've been conditioned to be. And that is a whole nother level, a whole nother story. That's that person that has come about because of how we were treated during our formative years. And then it was reinforced as we grew older and through the community that we came. And if your conscious being generally is a threat to your subconscious being, your conscious, the person who you are trying to come, who is usually, in most cases, I would say 95% of cases, is more enlightened, is going to make better decisions than the person who you are subconsciously conditioned to be. And it's not an absolute that is true in the affirmative, because there's obviously people who grew up in wonderful households and did a flip turn upside down and nobody quite knows what happened to them. But what I learned was that the conscious person that I was striving to become was a threat to the subconscious person that I had been conditioned to be. And it has taken me 13 years for those beings to be in harmony with one another. And I'm really grateful that all the endeavors and all the desires that I had to meet this beautiful African king before this moment, I'm so grateful they didn't come to pass. Because I think this is a beautiful story that has the potential to last for whatever time we both have here on Earth and into the eternities. And yet, I think I would have destroyed it if I had actually made it there. To be 100,000% honest with you, I think I would have destroyed our relationship just because I didn't know of all the things that was going on in my subconscious that would have been a threat to the love that he was giving and that he offers. And so now that we are at Juneteenth weekend, tomorrow is Freedom Day. Tomorrow is officially June 19th. Tomorrow is officially the true Emancipation Day. The day, 156 years that have passed since the last of the slaves were freed from Galveston, Texas, emancipation. Then I've declared that today, it is our day to move from poverty to prosperity. And so the interesting thing about that statement is that within us, we have diamond mines that we, especially me, he might still have some coal because he hasn't gone through all the pressing yet, but he has the potential. He has so much in him to shine. He already does shine. Why am I even trying to diminish him? He is a diamond himself. But I had to do a lot of excavating. There was a lot of impurities that I had to dig through before I found who I was. And she is beautiful. And vibrant and magnificent and loving and so trustworthy. And I love her. I truly do. She has become my best friend. My conscious and my subconscious are in a state of healing. And it is extremely exciting that we are moving from not just being in sync or having that synchronicity, but to having synergy, which is that step above that, where the sum of the two parts together is greater than the two parts separated. So in this case, it would be 1 + 1 = 5 or 10 or 1,000. And so my subconscious mind and my conscious mind in agreement is like heaven on earth. It's like peace. And that's why I say every day is another day, another amazing day in paradise. And so from this day, my goal is to go meet my African king. I've been working on French so that we could communicate with one another without a translator. It hasn't been easy. I need to become more committed to it, but I'm still working on it a little bit every day. And my son is helping me. We're actually doing 2 different languages in a learning app, a language learning app, and that's been really cool. But it is also to make sure that love is well established so that whoever is left in control of it, as I become an absentee CBB, Chief Bushel Blaster, you'll have to look it up if you're not familiar with what that means just yet. As I become an absentee CBB, I want to make sure that love gets left in the hands of take care of it and nurture it, and help it to grow. And so I am here at this Emancipation Weekend, at this time of Jubilee, at this pivotal moment in time. And I just want to say thank you to Africa for putting me on this journey to learn. I've helped with this journey. Oh my goodness, the names. I know I've forgotten plenty of them, but there are some memorable ones. But more importantly, in this last 2 months, I'm going to launch my social media scavenger hunt tomorrow. And I am going to introduce you to organizations and businesses that have really been an essential part of me and my son's existence over the last 2 months, especially. Because my heart is filled with so much gratitude. I'm also going to maybe identify people, maybe not name people, but definitely identify people. I haven't figured out that yet. Some names are easy enough where you won't know who they are. But as Wisdom and I work to accomplish the necessary as we work to what we need to take the step from poverty to prosperity, I'm inviting us. Some of the businesses, look into them. If they have merchandise purchased from them, if they're working on something, then step up with them and love them and support them. And give them the accolades that they deserve. Just off the top of my head, the Black Violin Foundation. Now, Black Violin has no idea who I am. And if you don't know who Black Violin is, I am so sorry. But it's time for you to find out, let me tell you. The one thing about Black Violin is they're a duo for the most part. They do have a drummer and they also have a DJ. But their music has literally been the soundtrack of my life, in me and Wisdom's life. And it's the only music that I played for him up until recently when we converted to listening to Daniel Tiger's Neighborhood. The soundtrack from Daniel Tiger's Neighborhood, some song. They have a nighttime collection that we've been listening to. And so, but Black Violin, their music, what I love about and appreciate about their music is that it's 100% guaranteed to be clean. It is appropriate for children of all ages. It is relevant to children of all ages. It is positive and uplifting. And one of my favorite songs, like the orchestration of one of my favorite songs, even though the topic is not one that I am so ready to jump on to talk about, it is the way they did it was so clever that, like I said, it's one of my favorite songs. And so if you have any inclination to helping children achieve musical training, then I would encourage you to give to the Black Violin Foundation. Another group off the top of my head is Every Dot Black and Jimmy Davies. Jimmy Davies is the founder, the visionary of that amazing organization. It was through Every Dot Black that Paid to Parents was born. Um, I had these ideas that I stand up in front of a group and talk about and share. It's where and Paid to Parent was what I talked about and the importance of parenting. And I didn't even know then what I know now. So it's even more important in just that I had that venue to share what was on my heart and in my mind, to keep it alive during that time that was intense struggle. Another organization that I have to say thank you to is the Motivation Readers Mastermind Network with Mastermind Stan Anderson at the helm. He is the brilliant mastermind behind that organization. And God led me to back to them. I was a part of their they offer daily readings of books every morning, from Tuesday to Saturday, from 8 a.m. starting at 8 a.m. generally from 8 to 8:30, 9 at latest. And I was there during one of the most challenging times of this last almost 2 years, when we were staying in a shelter experience. And just to be able to connect with intelligent Black people who were, divulging. I can't even remember what book we were reading at that time. I didn't have the book. I just remember wanting to be connected to them, because even if I couldn't talk and even if I couldn't hear them some of the times, I knew that they were saying stuff that I could relate to, that I could learn from. And so in January of 2021, God sent me back to them. And they introduced me to the book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Dr. Stephen R. Covey. And that book sincerely changed my life. It sincerely changed my life, simply because Dr. Covey, over 30 years ago, and he's been gone for 10, wrote this book that confirmed all the things that I had been learning, and thought I was the only one that knew. Or I can't say that I thought I was the only one that knew. I know there's other people that know it. I just didn't know how easily accessible it was to be able to have a tool to teach other people about it with my own little twist to it. And so I enjoyed reading that with them as a group, and have and gained many friendships from it, and so much love and such a support system. I decided, God led me away recently and said that my time of serving them had come to an end, and reading with them had come to an end, only because I want to spend more time and focus more time on my son, who has gotten the short end of the stick in this whole situation. I won't say he's missed out on his childhood, but he definitely could have had more. And instead of always being, living in hotels, not always being able to go to the park, there's just so many things, and he deserves so much better, because he is amazing. He really is. God, he lives up to the name that God gave him, and it is my greatest honor to be his mother. And so there are two other organizations that I want to talk about. One is um, A Place at the Table. They are a pay what you can restaurant in Raleigh, North Carolina. And that means that if you go there and you can't pay anything, then generally one of the social service agencies locally will have a token that you can have, that people purchase tokens, and you can get a free meal, one of your choice. It includes a sandwich of some sort, a side, or you can get a breakfast. They offer both breakfast and lunch options. They're open from 8 a.m. to 2 a.m. and they're not 8 a.m. to 2 a.m., 8 a.m. to p.m. And now they're open 6 days a week, Tuesday through Sunday. They're only closed on Monday now. And if I remember correctly, they have opened their dining room again. So they're opened inside as well as outside. And if you have a family and you can't afford to feed your family, then your family eats for free. And in the December of 2020, when Wisdom and I were living in a storage unit, we were living in a storage unit for a solid 2 weeks, and I had absolutely no money, and I had very little means to feed us. Um, we ate there every day, and we didn't have to pay. And then we ate there as often as we could. We were moved out to Cary, and we ate there as often as we could. And there was never a question. Anytime they saw us, it was a pleasure. Every time Wisdom was around, he was like, everybody was so happy to see him. They still are. Anytime we go there, it is like being welcomed into the family. And it is such an amazing gift. It's such a, when you're struggling and people don't look at you from the perspective of you being needy, and that it's a pleasure to see you and to serve you, that does a lot for you. And when I say bringing dignity to poverty, like that is my mantra. That is one of the elements that L.U.V is established by. One of the mottos, a part of our motto, our 3-point motto. They live it. They completely and totally bring dignity to poverty. From the owner, Maggie, she's the executive director, to every employee that works there and all the volunteers. I've never felt like I was anything less than the magnificent human being that I am by going there. And so if you have a reason, if you would be willing to support them and send them funds so that they can be magnify what they're doing in our area. I asked Maggie if she wanted to open more. She said no, so that's not a possibility. Maybe you want to talk to her about franchising into your area. I don't know, but it has been a gift to know them. And then the last place I would ask you to consider and look into. Actually, before I go there, I'm going to say that the Motivation Readers Mastermind Network is in the midst of a campaign called Operation Laptop. So if you Google Motivation Readers Mastermind Network, you will find that they have a website. Unfortunately, I didn't write it down. It's not on the top of my head. But if you go there and go to shop, you will see a place where you can purchase your portion of a laptop. So that because they are donating laptops to the Catherine and Count Basie Middle School in Jamaica, New York. And any amount can help. Their goal is $10,000, and they've already managed to donate, I think, about 9. So they're about halfway to their goal of $10,000, and are looking for more people to help. So if you can do that, that would be awesome. Now, before I go, the last place that I want to say is if you have some extra funds that you want to send somewhere, please consider Covenant Christian Church in Cary, North Carolina. They are called the Disciples of Christ. Their minister, their pastor, Chris Fur. Yes, I did say Christopher Fur. Don't ask. I didn't name him. F-U-R-R. Pastor Chris is what we call him. Me and Wisdom call him. He has been the most genuine human being ever. Compassionate, kind, loving, merciful. He is the epitome of everything that the parable of the exceptional Samaritan talked about. And if you could support his congregation, they are in the midst of working to get renovations. Their renovation bid has come back higher than they were anticipating. And with COVID and prices shooting sky high and stuff like that, anything that I could do to help them get a building that they deserve so that the work that they do can be magnified, that's what I would love to see happen. Because he literally has, and when we've gone to their church, everybody has been just the epitome of kindness. And so there have been other churches we've been to and different things of that nature, but most have seen us struggle and have just watched us struggle. And I can't say that that's true about Pastor Chris or any of the other ministers in his congregation that have known about our situation, or the other members who have known about our situation. Everybody has been has contributed to us maintaining our dignity in the midst of our poverty. And so again, Covenant Christian, they have services at 9 o'clock and 11 o'clock on Sunday morning. If you need, I'm going to put their Cash App in. Tomorrow on Saturday, on Juneteenth, I'm going to put this list of people that I'm grateful for and highlight them on all my social media platforms with links to whoever you can donate to. And I just have to say thank you to the town that we're living in. We're in Cary, North Carolina, and people from the surrounding towns that have contributed to our rising. And I'm excited about who we will meet tomorrow, actually on Juneteenth Day. The ancestors are with me and Wiz, and I'm excited about what they will, have set in store for us. So this is getting long. I wanted it to be started exactly at 7, maybe just a few seconds afterwards. And so, and just say thank you. Now, there aren't a lot of people that are watching, if anybody is actually watching right now live, because I didn't really send out any notifications that I was doing it. Because my love story is still really sacred to me. It's not that it's a secret, it's just really sacred to me. But I just want it to be known here and now, as I close this broadcast, that my endeavor is to get to France, where my African king resides, and see how this love story will continue. And if we get to live our happily ever after with one another. And so it's not that there aren't so many beautiful and intellectual and intelligent Black men. I have had an amazing collection of brothers that have just loved me and that I love. But there's something special about this one, and I can't wait to meet him. And so this is my year. The theme for this year is the best is yet to come in 2021, and it is. And the best that has yet to come thus far is me meeting me and falling in love with me genuinely, fully, completely, with every aspect of who I am, and working on just becoming better and better and better. And I look forward to meeting Africa, my African prince, my African king, and seeing what magic God has in store for us to create together. And even if I just get to go there and say hello to him, and we talk and things don't work out, it will still be the greatest love story ever. It really will be. And I can't wait to say thank you, because he set me on the journey of learning to love me. And when you are in love with yourself, there is no greater love story ever, or ever, anywhere. Between loving yourself and loving God, that is the greatest love story that you will ever, ever get to be a part of. And with that, I'm going to close. I bid you all a beautiful, beautiful continued journey. May you enjoy the amazing day you are creating. And most of all, may you enjoy creating your amazing day. And with that, I am complete. And I bid you peace, love, and God's continued blessings. And don't forget to always smile.